Hello, and welcome to the first edition of Flicking Through Your Best Friend's Girlfriend's Boyfriend's Record Collection, a title I came up with to kind of convey the obscurity that record collections often get these days. I believe looking through a record collection, be it in a record shop or someone's personal, is one of the greatest experiences a music lover can have, and isn't experienced that often these days. So I thought I'd bring you a YouTube channel that isn't simply vinyl rips, but is actually an explanation of the stories behind a record, or the tales and mythology that surround them, shall we say, because there are such things in existence. When you look through a record collection, there's a sort of magic that isn't there when you flick through your iTunes library, which I know from personal experience because I have one myself. I'm not some vinyl junkie, up on his high horse type person. I have a vinyl collection, but most of my music collection is digital. So I'm going to take you through this now, and I'm going to open with my latest purchase, which is the newspaper edition of Radiohead's King of Limbs. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but this is a very delicate album, which, as it says on the back, this is plastic film, is oxo-biodegradable, or OBD plastic. Some bullshit about metal salts that are catalysed during the natural degradation process. But basically, this is going to destroy itself in, as it says itself, months to years' time, unless you're incredibly careful. So you're actually not going to find this flicking through someone's record collection unless they're an unbelievable moron and haven't got it double bagged in plastic to keep the bastard from degrading, because, let's be honest, I've paid a damn lot of money for this. So let's get a look at the contents first. Now, I said it was a newspaper edition. Now, people who aren't as fanatical about Radiohead as I am, one second, won't quite be aware of what that means. But it's fairly self-explanatory. As you will see, the first item you get, or that sticks out from this record collection, is the King of Limbs newspaper, which is exactly that. Although you could question the exact amount of news it has in it, which is none. It is in fact a collection of artwork, lyrics, stories, and the general cynicism of Radiohead that has come through on most of their albums since OK Computer. Now, first we'll see a story here called Sell Your House and Buy Gold. Exactly the kind of optimism we've come to see from Radiohead. Now, this is a very beautiful thing. Whether or not you like Radiohead, this is a fantastically put together piece of artwork. It's basically a glorified liner notes, if you will, because it does have such information. It even has a special thanks to Drew Barrymore where part of the album was recorded. But there's a lot of really breathtaking things in here. I'm not sure how well it's going to come across through that camera, or my haphazard holding of the newspaper. But there are scans of this available. I may just include a link somewhere so you can find them. But yes, this is well worth a look if you're a Radiohead fan, although if you're not quite fanatical, I would say the retail version of the album is sufficient. But I wouldn't say this newspaper needs any more scrutiny, you know, it's all, you know, artwork, the kind of artwork you come to expect from Stanley Donwood, who's the artist that's worked with Radiohead since the Bends. And, you know, it's great stuff. I'm firm in the belief, as a fanatical Radiohead fan, that this is a contender for the greatest album I've ever recorded. And, you know, the package, for me, is part of that, which you don't get in the CD or download. and shows a good reason why I wanted to make this YouTube channel in the first place, is to show off novelties like these, which you're simply not going to find. And if you're going to see this in a record shop, this edition, in the upcoming years, probably, well, you're going to see it on the wall, out of reach, and for a damn lot of money. Unless you purchase this from Radiohead's website, as I did. But you may come into some delivery issues, as I did, and as many purchasers did. But let's continue with this here, with what I think is an interesting edition of what can only be described of 625 pieces of acid tabs. I mean, I'm not sure if that was the intention, but it's supposed to be 625 pieces of individual artwork. Really, it's probably more like 10 pieces of artwork repeated. I don't really want to damage it. I'm not sure if you can see. Each little image is a kind of tab of its own, which you can rip off perforated. I'm not sure why you'd want to. I'm not sure why they've included this. It's kind of typical of the pretension of Radiohead. But the impression I get is that it's acid tabs, and while I don't indulge in that, it's an interesting addition, and, you know, this is the kind of album you take acid to. So, fair enough. Next, we have the actual record, which is the most impressive piece of this package, in my opinion. Now, it comes in a nice sleeve, same kind of artwork as you've seen throughout. Now, this sleeve isn't quite as degradable as the rest of it, because Radiohead aren't stupid. They know, well, this degradable gimmick is going to be a selling point. They don't want the actual product to fully be destroyed. The little novelties aren't as important as the actual records themselves, or at least that's my opinion. I assume Radiohead agree. Now, what they've done with King of Limbs, which is an incredibly short album, not even reaching the 40-minute mark, is for some reason they've split it into two 10-inch vinyls, rather than producing it on one 12-inch, although this is better quality to do so. That's an aspect of vinyl, is that trying to shove too many tracks on one side will decrease the quality. So I can see why Radiohead's done that, actually. And the first thing you'll notice about these beautiful records is that they are clear, completely and utterly transparent, which is a very nice thing to see. Now, if you're a seasoned record collector, this isn't new. Coloured vinyls occur all the time. This isn't even the first non-black vinyl I have. And I have an incredibly small record collection, but nonetheless, these are always very beautiful things to behold. There's a small bit of tobacco there I'd just like to get rid of, and there we go. Bear in mind I'm being incredibly careful. It's not exactly advised for you to stick your fingers all over a record, whether it's one of these or a 50p bargain bucket collection. But yes, you're not going to get much difference from the other, but it's worth a look. Another colour you can see. Oh no, it is another colour on the other side. I mean that bit there, of course. Now, these are beautiful records, and not only are they nice to look at, but they're gorgeous to listen to. I've never listened to a vinyl rip of this record on YouTube. I don't see the point. I own it. So I don't know how it comes across. But listening to itself just on a record player, it's one of the most beautiful records I own. The bass kicks through thicker than I've heard anywhere before, really. And it's a really rich, gorgeous album, which, when listening to it on the download version before I picked up this, is definitely an improvement. So, if you're becoming interested in record collections, then this is a good example of how the vinyl version of its quality can greatly destroy the quality of any digital or CD edition you can purchase. I don't want to sound like a typical vinyl obsessive, you know, but they just sound better. It's as simple as that. And I've heard the same from many of my peers who haven't gotten into records and have come round and listened to my collection, that it's simply a different experience. And I wish I could put that across to you, but you can probably tell how bad my voice sounds on this awful MacBook microphone, so I'm not even going to insult your intelligence by trying to play this down the microphone. I have the equipment to record a vinyl rip, but there must be numerous online by now anyway. It seems pointless. Now, this record is beautiful. I've said that many times before, but I'm a Radiohead fanatic, and I kind of assume you must be too, considering this is my first video, and you must have searched King of Limbs or something to get here, unless you're a friend of mine being forced to watch this theatre of the insane. But I thought that was a nice start to going through my record collection with you, telling their stories. Now, actually, there is a story to this record I haven't told. It's not that great one, but I'll tell it anyway, because it's part of the package. Now, Radiohead have come under some flack with the release of this record due to their frankly awful delivery service. There's lost copies all over the place, late copies, people receiving copies before others who ordered it a long time before. And Radiohead have come under deep flack for this, and I experienced it myself. With about a 4-week period where I was expecting this to show up every single day. So, as an utter Radiohead obsessive, it was horrible to wake up every morning and hear the mailman come run downstairs in a hastily put on dressing gown to find nothing for a long time. And I literally jumped for joy when it did arrive, and was not disappointed. It's a fantastic record. It's a fantastic package, and there's nothing more I can say about it other than, if you are a Radiohead fan, the newspaper album is well worth a purchase and is a collectible investment, if you will, because years down the line things like these will become rarer and rarer as their owners, certain owners that care less about it, allow them to degrade. And I believe that this will be a special record in the future by people who have been able to keep it, you know, pristine and undegraded. I've heard stories of people who have got this plastic package and just... I haven't explained this, there is a plastic package around the whole thing, the King of Limbs plastic package. And I've heard stories of people just going straight in, ripping that apart, ripping that to shreds, and regretting it later. Now, I'm glad I heard those stories before I received mine, because I may have been tempted to be filled with the same kind of excitement. Instead, simple knife down the top line will do you nicely, I believe, unless you're wanting to keep it completely sealed, which I think is quite mad. You can keep this nice and safe without having to keep it completely sealed, and keeping it completely sealed negates paying £30 for such a beautiful package and such a great sounding record. Right. The reason why I began with this really is because it's right at the front of my record collection. I'd rather this wasn't sandwiched together between things due to the brittle nature of it. So next week we're going to have a look at some older vinyls. This is a very up-to-date record. The next week we might have a look at some old jazz records from maybe even the 20s by people such as Django Reinhardt, moving on all the way up to Ry Cooder. But I like to think I have a diverse record collection. I have, you know, everything from Pink Floyd to Orbital to the Pixies to dubstep. I have a rather large dubstep collection, to Vangelis, to Billy Bragg, you know, to classical. Classical records are a joy to behold. So we'll see in the future what I can bring you, and if anyone even enjoys this channel, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you for watching.